one I used in my talk with you last year to illustrate the importance of this point. A major internationally recognized United States insurance company analyzed the time it took to process an insurance claim in its business. It found that on average it took 3 weeks to process a normal claim. Now, in the insurance business, this is not considered poor performance. In fact, this company's performance was considered very acceptable in the industry. When the claim process was examined in detail, it was discovered that there was only 15 minutes in that entire 3-week period that someone was actually doing something to that claim to add value to the claim. By value, I mean doing something to that claim that would directly benefit the customer. For most of the 3-week lead time, there was no value being added. The claim was going through some administrative process that really added no value, or the claim was moving from one function to another, or the claim was just sitting in someone's backlog waiting for someone to do something with it. Can you see the parallel with what was happening in this business process and what happens in typical production processes? Let's think about this example for a minute. Think about the competitive advantage this insurance company would have if it could learn to expose its problems, eliminate its unnecessary administrative functions, eliminate its backlogs, move time, and wait time. If the company could expose these problems and eliminate them, it would be able to process a claim in 15 minutes. This is not an impossible dream. And if the company could come anywhere near this kind of performance, think about what this would mean to its customers, and think about what a strong competitive advantage it would give the company over its competition. I want to share another example, one that I personally just experienced. I recently was placed in charge of an engineering department. One of our responsibilities is to respond to customer inquiries and provide quotations for new customer requirements that involve new product features. Traditionally, it was considered good performance to process a customer inquiry through the department in 5 days. In the real world, I'm very embarrassed to say, most of them took much longer than 5 days, and it was not unusual for them to take many weeks or even many months to be answered. I decided to try a different approach. The traditional process was to first have a project manager analyze the inquiry, then have the inquiry routed individually to various electrical, mechanical, and systems engineering disciplines for inputs. Then these inputs would be pulled together by a project manager, and a quotation would be delivered to the customer. Each of these individuals had a stack of inquiries and other engineering projects waiting to be processed. In other words, there was a large inventory sitting in the department waiting to be worked on. The question in my mind was, how could we begin to start exposing our problems and start systematically lowering this inventory using the just-in-time, one less item at a time approach? I decided to relook at the way we were processing the inquiries and figure out a way to achieve more speed in our process. I tried a simple experiment. We assembled the project manager and the engineers together and asked them to process the inquiry as a team simultaneously versus the traditional way of working the inquiry one sequential operation at a time. An interesting thing happened. Working together, the team completed the inquiry in less than 2 hours. In addition, the team all felt that the quality of the quotation produced, working as a team, was significantly better than the result they would have achieved working as individuals. In addition, each learned from the other, and they all shared information that was very valuable to each other. One of the amazing things we learned was that they all felt that they spent less time on the inquiry working as a team than if they had to struggle with the inquiry working as individuals. They solved the various problems they encountered and answered questions much quicker and much more efficiently working together. Another fascinating result that we found was that everyone had a lot more fun working together as a team, and they all felt a sense of great accomplishment. Bottom line, by eliminating the move time, wait time, unnecessary administration, and most importantly, by working together as a team, our efficiency and our effectiveness improved. We got the job done faster and better, we had more fun, and we made the customer very happy with a high-quality, fast response. We have now adopted this approach to all of the inquiries in our department's backlog, and we are attacking and reducing our inventory of inquiries one less item at a time. Now, I understand that this is a very simple, relatively minor example, but this example does illustrate how we can focus on ways to better manage inventories in our business environments and start to systematically lower the water level to expose problems and eliminate waste using the one less item at a time approach. I truly believe the big difference between winning companies and losing companies in the future will be that winning companies will learn to achieve speed in all of their work processes at managerial and at operational levels. Increasing the quality and speed of all processes must become a way of life, both for production and for business processes, from the raw materials and planning to the delivery of final product and service. We must learn to live and breathe reducing process cycle times. Today's multicultural environment requires much adaptation, negotiation, and tolerance among the individuals striving to accomplish this. These concepts as a way of life do not interfere in any way with the richness and uniqueness of individual values and organizational goals. They are not simple recipes for business success, but they do have the potential to move your competitiveness to a much higher level. In the second half of our program, I want to share with you what I believe are essential guidelines we can use to achieve speed in our business environments.
We are now going to have the first question and answer session. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. Therefore, we ask that only one question be asked per phone call and that these questions be as brief as possible. You may call or fax the studio at the numbers on your screen. Well, and now we have the first question is coming by phone and comes from Villanueva in Tabasco. Please speak. Buenos días. Patricia Castañeda, calling from Mexico. Our question is, what do you suggest for the state enterprises that buys great volumes of produce and creates waste and obsolescence, in addition to maintenance, inventory maintenance, because they're buying great volumes? That's all. Thank you.
Well, if I understand your question correctly, these businesses are buying in great volumes. One of the principal just-in-time concepts is we need to learn again to manage our businesses with minimum inventory. We do this by, again, attacking waste in everything we do, and we need to learn how to manage our businesses with less inventory and look at ways that we can reduce these huge volumes and be producing and consuming these items on a just-in-time basis. The only way we can do this is by learning to attack and eliminate waste using this one less at a time approach that I described. I hope I understood your question and answered it for you.
Gracias, señor Zalatan.
Thank you, Mr. Zalatan. The next question is arriving via fax from Mexico. How do we start a just-in-time program?
Very good question. You must first have, as I've mentioned, the top management commitment and top management belief in these concepts, and they first need to understand these concepts and accept them. And then the way to start, once you have this top management commitment and understanding, is there has to be a massive education and training program for all the employees in the business, introduce them to these new concepts and these new ways of thinking. So training and education is absolutely essential once top management accepts and understands and believes in these concepts.
La siguiente pregunta es formulada desde Asunción.
Coming from Asunción, Paraguay. Please speak.
Aquí desde
This is from
el auditorio de la Unión Paraguaya.
From the Paraguayan Union, Industrial Union. We would like to present to you the following question. When an enterprise is ready to introduce this just-in-time concept, focus, do you have any signals? Are there any indicators? Do we have to prepare this beforehand? How do we know?
Again, very good question. First of all, as I have already mentioned, the top management commitment to the concepts is the key signal for the readiness of the business to accept. I mean, the top management commitment must be there. That is the first key signal. And once top management accepts it, the other key signal is the culture of the business one that's ready to accept change and accept new ways of thinking. Are the people in the business, and that means all the levels of management and all of the workers in the business, is there an environment where new ideas and new ways of thinking will be accepted in the business? Top management has to take the strong leadership role and set the example for the entire workforce to get this culture change moving and going in the right direction. So the key signals I would summarize is that, first of all, there must be this top management buy-in, and the culture of the business has to be ready. The people have to be ready to accept these new concepts.
Muchas gracias.
Nuevos conceptos. Muchas gracias.
La siguiente pregunta.
Thank you. The next question comes from the city of Eternal Spring, Medellín, Colombia. Estamos hablando de la Universidad de EAFIT de Medellín, and the question is, what are the most effective aids in order to accept the concept of internal client within the enterprise?
The concept of internal customer is very, very key. Internal customer or internal client. This understanding of this concept is very, very key to success. Many of us have all learned to get a customer focus and understand that there is an external customer's needs that we need to be focused on. But many of the individual people in the business never really get in touch with that external customer. Their customer that they must satisfy is the next person or the next operation that they are trying to satisfy in the business. This internal customer concept, where everyone views that they must satisfy their internal customers' needs, is very, very critical to just-in-time success. And this learning, again, can be achieved by educating people to understand and learn to get to know their customers, understand their customer needs and expectations, and learn to work with their customers, internal customers. I find it very amazing in my real-world experience how many people work in day-to-day jobs without ever getting to know their internal customer or really getting to understand and learn about their internal customers' needs and expectations. This understanding throughout the business is key to just-in-time success, that focus on both internal and external customers.
La siguiente pregunta
And the
es
next question
formulada
is
desde
coming from La
Baja
Paz,
California,
Baja
la
California.
UABC. Adelante. Escuchamos a La Paz. En
Okay,
su
La
pregunta.
Paz.
Adelante,
Por-
La Paz. Parece que hay,
I cannot hear.
parece que hay dificultades.
The
Vamos
interpreter
a
cannot hear the question.
formular una pregunta de fax.
Okay,
que nos
so
llega
we're going to
de
take
la
a
ciudad de
question
Guadalajara,
coming by fax
Jalisco, México,
from
de la
Guadalajara,
Guadalajara. Dice,
Mexico.
¿de qué forma las mujeres
In what way
han
can
aprendido
women
a
have
abatir
women learn
el
to
desperdicio de tiempo y materiales
to
en los procesos
eliminate
productivos?
the waste in the productive processes?
Your question is women and how women can learn. I can only speak from my experience in the United States, where now women are really truly equal partners in the production process, and their contributions are equal and considered very, very valuable. So to me, and I don't know if I am answering your question, the women involved in this process make the same and very, very equal contributions as the men. There is no difference in applying these principles to women or men. These principles are universal and apply to all sexes, and there is no difference in the concepts on how women should apply them versus men.
La siguiente pregunta
And the
nos la
next
formulan
question
también vía fax
is coming
del
also
Centro de Graduados
via
del
fax
Instituto Tecnológico
from the Technological
de la Ciudad de
Institute
Tijuana.
from Tijuana.
Dice, si los
It
conceptos
says,
de un
if
sistema
the
justo
concepts
tiempo
of a
son tan fáciles
just-on-time
de aprender,
concept are so easy to apply,
¿por qué tienen tantas
why
organizaciones
do
problemas
so many
al
organizations
implementarlos?
have problems in implementing them?
That is a very, very good question. First of all, if I gave the impression that these concepts are easy to apply, that is not true. These concepts are very, very difficult. They are easy to learn, very, very difficult to apply in the real-world environment and to implement in our real-world environments. The principal reason that these are so difficult to implement is they require us to change our thinking. We have accepted certain ways of doing business. We have accepted these, many of the waste in our business have become routine and have become an accepted, ingrained way of doing business. And so now we have to expose problems, eliminate problems. We have to experience pain. We have to experience change. And this is very, very difficult. People resist pain. They resist change because they have certain levels of, they're comfortable with the way things are today. So moving from a present state into a future state where we have to adopt these new ways of thinking for many, many people is very, very difficult and requires extensive training and understanding and continuous ongoing education to move people from their present ways of thinking to these new ways of thinking.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
La siguiente pregunta
And the next
nos la
question
formulan
is
desde la
coming
Universidad
from
Baja California.
Baja
Adelante.
California. Good morning, from Southern California, Baja California Sur. Are there any examples to apply methodology, just-in-time methodology for the educational institutions? Because we have a big similarity here if we apply the terms, because the goals of educational institutions are to incorporate graduates into society, and the production line would be the amount of semesters of the curriculum and the program. And then the inventory would be the problems that we have been encountering with students who have failed or dropouts. So I want to know if there is any way or any concrete example where we could apply just-in-time technologies to these educational programs and research programs at the educational institutions. Thank you.
educational institutions, just like manufacturing businesses or service industries, all have problems, all have work processes that they need to examine to eliminate waste. You will see in the second part of my program some guidelines that I suggest that you may be able to utilize to achieve speed in your businesses and in your educational processes. For one thing for sure, you need to understand all of your processes. You need to understand how to analyze processes, how to actually go in and flow chart your processes and understand where the constraints and bottlenecks and waste are in your various key processes of your educational business. The concepts that I will be sharing with you in the second half of the program hopefully will help you in terms of some of the key principles I believe will help you achieve speed. So watch intensely in the second half of the program. Hopefully there will be some guidelines there that you can use in your educational processes to help you achieve speed and eliminate waste.
Coming from the electrical company from Mexico, this is the federal district. This is a call. Why is it that just-in-time applies more to productive processes rather than administrative processes? And then what is the philosophy behind just-in-time?
Well, first of all, the just-in-time concepts were first introduced in production in manufacturing environments. And in fact, if you look at the history of just-in-time, the first introductions of these thinkings were in Japan in businesses such as the automobile industry. Toyota and other major Japanese automobile companies were the first to embrace these concepts and achieved very, very much success in production environments. This set the stage for other manufacturing businesses to learn from the successes of the Toyotas and the other great world-class Japanese companies. So the first real wins and successes were in production and manufacturing type businesses and environments. Now I believe we are ready to bring these principles and concepts into our service industries and into our business and office environments. These same principles can be applied to our service and educational and office environments. And I also believe that there are more significant gains to be made in these service and office environments. As I used in my example of this insurance company, there is certainly considerable waste in all of our service industries, and we need to increase the productivity and the speed of our office and service processes. And I truly believe that these just-in-time concepts can be great tools to help us increase the productivity of our service businesses.
We have another question coming from via telephone, and this comes from Querétaro, Mexico. Buenos días. Well, the question is the following. If the top management does not want the total quality management or just-in-time, what else can we do, the people down in the middle level?
That is a very, very, very good question. To achieve the overall business success, you must have top management commitment. But where that is not there, when you do not have that, you still can go and utilize these concepts in your areas, and hopefully, where there is not this top management commitment, you can show some successes in a more local or functional element of the business. Through your successes, maybe you can educate and get the sponsorship of top management. For the overall success of the program, there has to be a total business commitment. But you down there in the middle can utilize these concepts and hopefully set some examples, achieve some successes to get top management sponsorship and get their attention.
La siguiente pregunta viene formulada
The next question comes from Mérida, Yucatán, Mexico, and this comes from the Technological Institute. Adelante, México. No se escucha muy bien. How can you determine the optimum inventory if the inventory hides problems? And how can we apply that in education, in higher education? The interpreter is complaining because we cannot really hear that question very well. I apologize.
¿Podría repetirnos la pregunta, Mérida, Yucatán, Instituto Tecnológico?
Más alto el volumen. If the inventories hide problems, how can you determine the inventory that is the adequate one? And the second question would be, could you apply the techniques of just in time on a high level, at the higher educational level?
Okay, the first question, how do you determine the optimum level of inventory? The first thing we need to recognize here that this is a never-ending continuous improvement journey. So the best answer that I can give you to your question is to, first of all, you need to understand and accept the inventory where you are today, and using the one less at a time approach to attack the inventory, to attack the waste, you need to be continually lowering your inventory level. The optimum level, which is, the absolute minimum level of inventory that you need to run your business, you will probably never achieve, because this, again, is a never-ending journey. The key principle is you need to be continuously using inventory as one of your key measurements to determine, are you achieving success in your just-in-time program. If your inventory is not continually being lowered, your program is not working. So the key thing is to achieve a stake in the ground where you are today, and then continuously work to lower that inventory using these just-in-time concepts. The question on can you achieve these concepts in a higher education environment? Again, we have processes. We need to achieve speed in all of our processes. We need to attack waste in all of our processes. These principles are universal, apply to higher education, lower education, service, production. The principles are universal.
Vía telefónica recibimos ahora una pregunta.
Now we have a phone call coming from Tecate, Baja California.
Escuchamos. Tecate.
What are the techniques in order to reduce the volumes so that the problems can be more visible in a continuous production environment?
In a continuous production environment, the first question we need to ask ourselves is, as we start lowering the inventory, and as we start lowering the amount of inventory that it takes to maintain our production process and maintain our deliveries, what will happen is we will start experiencing pain, and we will start exposing problems. So as we lower the amount of input and inventory that we're utilizing in our processes to achieve the same level of output, what will happen is we will begin to start exposing our problems. We will find out that we have machine maintenance problems, that we have setup problems with our equipment. We will find out that our operators need additional training. We will find out that there are planning issues. We will start exposing problems as we start lowering our inventories. We will start exposing problems, and then the key thing is to use all the creative energies of our people to attack these problems and solve these problems. This is where it's very important that our people must have those problem-solving skills, must be trained and educated, and learn the total quality management tools and techniques so as these problems are exposed, that they can start systematically solving these problems.
Desde la ciudad de Guadalajara, en Jalisco.
From Guadalajara, Jalisco, from the University of Guadalajara. Yes, within the just-in-time process, how could we apply the work cells and the readiness and preparedness and the conceptualization of the Kanban, and the concept of inventory in education in order to start the just-in-time process?
Your question is, how can we begin implementing the process of Kanbans and other just-in-time techniques? You obviously have been studying and are an advanced student in just-in-time. One of my recommendations when I teach just-in-time is that the concepts of Kanban, and this is one of the techniques of just-in-time to help you lower your inventory. This is something that is a very advanced stage of just-in-time thinking. You first need to address the quality, get ingrained in your company, the quality principles, the problem-solving skills, the total quality management concepts, the concepts of lowering our inventories one less at a time, and to begin exposing problems to prepare ourselves for implementing some of these advanced concepts, such as Kanban. You first need to start out with the basics of the total quality management principles, the continuous improvement principles, and the concepts of beginning to lower our inventory one less at a time before we can truly implement the advanced concepts of Kanban and work cells. This will evolve as we grow and learn in our program. This will be a natural evolution. But we have to start with some of the basics before we can evolve into the Kanban and work cells.
Gracias. Continuamos
Thank you.
ahora con la segunda parte de la
Next,
presentación del señor.
the second part of the presentation is coming now.
We all know that the pace of change has accelerated. With the globalization of the economy, companies face a greater number of competitors. Each of these new competitors has the potential to introduce product and service innovations to the market. In addition, with new technologies being developed faster and faster, product life cycles are diminishing. For example, in the electronics industry today, it is not unusual for products to have a lifespan of 1 year or even less. We probably have all had the experience of purchasing a piece of electronics equipment, such as a computer, and finding out our purchase is out of date soon after bringing it home. As competition increases, and as technology increases at a faster and faster pace, the time to design and develop new products is diminishing. Companies must learn to move fast or they won't be moving at all. The following are guidelines to achieving speed in our business environments. We need to have a process focus. We need to have bold, trusting leaders. We need to keep our procedures simple, and we need to have the smart use of information technology. To achieve speed in the business, there first must be a process focus. Most business activities are a process. That is a sequence of events that has a starting point and an ending point. In the middle are many activities. Some examples of business processes are entering an order, processing an invoice, issuing a purchase order, establishing sales and manufacturing plans, and designing a new product. It is amazing in any business process to observe how long it takes from beginning to end. Try this one in your company. Take any of the business processes I just mentioned and measure the time it takes to process it through the normal operating channels. Many of you will find the time is terribly long. A major reason why these processes take so long is that most of our organization consists of a series of functional stovepipes. Vertical organization structures built on narrow pieces of a process. In most companies, marketing develops customer requirements, Engineering designs, manufacturing and purchasing set up the production lines and select suppliers, and service experts prepare the customer service plans. A person with a problem in one of these functions might have to shoot it up 2 or 3 levels in the organization. The problem then most likely gets tossed around laterally at high levels and eventually gets kicked down to the person in the area who knows the answer. Then it's back up and down the organization hierarchy again. Instead of organizing functionally, we need to focus on the flow of information and then organize our people around the flow. For example, in one of my past positions, I was running a production department and was very frustrated on how long it took to get replacement parts for my machines. I found we had a buyer for maintenance items located in the purchasing department. This buyer was trying to work with the maintenance mechanics in the maintenance department. We decided to reorganize and place the buyer within the maintenance department. So instead of having to deal with the maintenance and purchasing hierarchies, the maintenance mechanics and the buyer could deal with each other directly. This immediately improved communication, reduced paper travel, and speeded up